Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of Sports Insight with your host Alamdar Khan. And yes, as you know, we give you sports information from all across the globe. You guys can surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is @of Indus News Sports. That basically works both for Twitter and for Instagram. But anyways, we'll go to the headlines first. And yes, from the world of NBA, Phoenix Suns managed to win against the LA Lakers 113-100, while the Nuggets eliminate the Trail Blazers in Game 6 with 126-115 win. And yes, from the world of cricket, the uncapped Azam Khan also included the T20 side, which PCB just announced the squads against West Indies and England. And yes, from the world of golf, Jason Day withdraws from the 2021 Memorial Tournament with back injury. And yes, from the world of French Open, yes, defending champion Rafael Nadal set up to the French Open third round meeting with Britain's Cameron Norrie by beating Richard Gasquet. And yes, from the world of rugby, Premiership champion Exeter have announced the signing of the Irish centre Sean O'Brien for the 2021 and 22 season. And yes, those were the headlines, and what an interesting turn of events in terms of the world of NBA. And yes, we truly want to get into the detailed, in-depth analysis because we're talking about the Phoenix Suns finally managed to get there where they wanted. And yes, the Lakers have been pretty upset about it. LeBron James, for sure, tried his level best to take the team where they were supposed to, but unfortunately was unable to do that. But anyways, to discuss more of the in-depth analysis, we have with us Adam, who's like an NBA expert in terms of how things are, and we would like to hear his point of view. Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Great. So Adam, we'll start off with the first upset in terms of Lakers perspective. Yes, LeBron James tried his level best, but a lot of injuries in terms of the team itself, and Phoenix Suns proving their worth and stepping into the semis. What do you see, and how do you see this developing for them in the future?
Well, it's always hard to win 2 championships in a row. It's even harder when your season ends in October and then you got to lace them back up and do it again in December. And that was the case for the Los Angeles Lakers after they played deep into the fall due to the conditions of the bubble, having that lead into a very short offseason. So it was a very tall task. The Lakers did a great job this offseason. They added a lot of talent. But it was never a foregone conclusion that they were going to get back to the championship, and I feel like a lot of people treated it as such. But the league is really deep right now, and it's not just about LeBron James. He's been doing it for a very long time. But the Phoenix Suns showed the world that they are a very real contender, and it was very nice to see Chris Paul stay healthy in this series. And we all had our moments where we were concerned when he had that shoulder injury, and he definitely played through that, but it was good to see him healthy. Unfortunate that Anthony Davis was not healthy, but I think the big theme in the NBA right now is it's a changing of the guard. And so you have Devin Booker coming out with 47 points, and he was just absolutely electric yesterday for the Phoenix Suns. 8 of 10 from three-point range, and really helped get out and step on the neck early. And Chris Paul just doing what he does best with his 12 assists. And so I think the Suns really showed that they're a team that should be considered a very serious contender. And now we're going to talk a little bit, is it going to be them or is it going to be the Utah Jazz? It's really wide open in the wild, wild west, but that's a very well-built team. And they're able to play a great style of modern basketball. And Jay Crowder was a key component for the Miami Heat when they made their run to the finals last year. And now he's doing it again as the Phoenix Sun. 6 of 9 from downtown, 18 points, 8 rebounds, and just a knack for hitting big shots. And so I'm sure there's a lot of sad Laker fans this morning, but they've had plenty of championships. This is the best Phoenix Suns team we've had in a very long time.
Right, but if we look at, obviously, this is the first time we're talking about LeBron James himself, that they've actually managed to lose in the first round. If we look at all the games together, they did struggle and they were struggling. They tried to ensure that, they bring in Anthony Davis even in this particular match. But, I mean, 6 minutes were left in the first quarter and he had to leave. And if we look at the first quarter, Phoenix Suns were 36 and LA Lakers were only 14. And I think this was the ultimate start for Phoenix Suns to get to where they are, 113 to 100 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you get out and jump on them, it's a completely different ball game, and they really took that momentum. And it's a lot of mental warfare when it comes to playoff basketball. And it almost looked like LeBron James was kind of giving up on his guys at the end. It was certainly an uphill battle. They turned it into a ball game. But, there's a play where he's talking with the ref and his guys are left playing 4-on-5. And I was a little surprised to see that. And it's a shame that Anthony Davis wasn't able to return. But if you really want my honest opinion, and that's obviously why you brought me on, is they had no business winning that series without a healthy Anthony Davis.
Right.
And it's not all about LeBron James, even though you can make an argument, he's still the best player in the world. It was not going to happen because the rest of the league is that good. And you don't have 5 LeBrons out there. And once he went down, it completely changed the dynamics of the game. It changed the dynamics of the series.
Right.
And he was certainly an important X factor because they don't have anyone who can really match up with him super well. DeAndre Ayton might not be quick enough. Jay Crowder might not be big enough. And so it gave the Suns the obvious advantage as far as personnel.
Right.
And I think it was as simple as that. And so it's unfortunate that it had to end that way. But a lot of these LeBron James teams that have gotten out of the first round and have made deep runs in the playoffs have had the benefit of being healthy before. And he's also been on some teams where the injury bug bit at unfortunate times. Of course, with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving a few years ago when he was with Cleveland.
Right.
And so it's kind of the way the cookie crumbles, and what's very interesting about that Lakers team is they were a little bit top heavy, and LeBron James and Anthony Davis were dealing with injuries down the stretch of the season, and it made them a very fragile team heading into the playoffs. And we saw what happened. One of those guys went down, and LeBron, I think, isn't quite right with his body either. And that's really all it took. Meanwhile, the Suns are extremely healthy, and I wouldn't say extremely healthy, but they're the healthier team of the two. Chris Paul is able to be very productive. He wasn't, lighting it up, only 4 of 12 from the field, but those 12 assists so key, and making sure that his guys were in correct position defensively. And I think the Suns, it's such a remarkable story to look at the growth they've shown since last year, where they were red hot but didn't quite make the playoffs in the bubble. But now you add such an intelligent player in Chris Paul, and you're seeing the collective IQ on that basketball team rise exponentially. And so it's a very special team to witness, and I'm excited to see what they do in the next round.
Yep, I'm absolutely looking forward for that. And once again, congratulations to the Sun. I would jump over to the next game which I want to talk about. Let's talk about the Nuggets. They managed to eliminate the Trailblazers to begin with 126 to 115. And I think the direction that they're heading is the direction that they truly wanted to go to.
Yeah, absolutely. The Nuggets have an extremely exciting team, and some of the best players on that team are still pretty young, and that makes it all the more exciting. And one guy who's really had to step up is only 22 years old, Michael Porter Jr., who exploded for his 22 points, I believe it was, in the first quarter of that game. And, it's such a shame that Jamal Murray got hurt earlier in the season. But if there's anyone on the Nuggets who's shown just how dangerous he is and how talented he is, it's Michael Porter Jr., and he had to step up into that role in order to stabilize that Denver Nuggets team, and he has done such a phenomenal job of doing so.
Right.
Of course, though, it all goes through Nikola Jokic, and he's my pick for MVP this year. And Jokic just doing what he does with his 36 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. In the playoffs, as we've seen so many times with LeBron James, a lot of times it comes down to having the best player. And the best player in that series is definitely Nikola Jokic. Jokic has been the best basketball player in the NBA all season.
Right.
And so he was able to really carry the team, but the credit has to be given to Michael Porter Jr., especially for the explosion he had in that first quarter, because that really changed the trajectory of that game and really made it so the Blazers they got punched in the mouth a little bit, and it was hard to come back from. And so, all credit where it's due. It's, as always, it's a team effort with the Nuggets. Not having your star point guard is such a huge loss, but you got to give credit to the committee of Austin Rivers, Campazzo, and Monty Morris. And Morris with such a terrific game, really limiting the mistakes. He only had 1 turnover, 9 assists, 22 points, and a stabilizing factor when you can have those guys come in, not make mistakes, and they don't have to go do anything crazy. They don't have to drop, 50 points like Jamal Murray was doing last year in the playoffs, because Jokic is arguably the best playmaker in the NBA. He just happens to play center, which is what makes the Denver Nuggets so dangerous, that they're a built-in matchup nightmare no matter who they play, because they have such a revolutionary style of play.
Right, but if we look into the entire match itself, if we talk about the first 2 quarters, obviously the Trailblazers were at a lead. They had 68 points, and the Nuggets were at 61. But what truly went wrong was the 4th quarter, where the Trailblazers actually managed to score only 14 points, whereas Denver Nuggets scored double that, which is 28 points. And I think the last quarter was the game changer for them.
Oh, without a doubt. And you've seen those Mike Malone Nuggets teams really clamp down in the 4th quarter at times, and they made some excellent adjustments at halftime, and they forced Portland into 17 turnovers, which is not super characteristic in these big moments. And I really thought that this series was going to go 7 games. I thought Portland would pull it off last night, and as you mentioned, they did have the lead at half. Like I said previously, it was so key for the Nuggets to have Michael Porter Jr. have that monster first quarter, because it definitely, kept things from getting too out of hand. But it really seems like there's going to be some major changes in Portland. I thought they put together a really good roster, but it just wasn't good enough. And, we always talk about Dame time. There's quarters where it's, Dame himself can give you 28 points, but for the whole team only to go out there and put up 14 points in the final 12 minutes is a major disappointment for a Trailblazers team that some people had making a pretty deep playoff run.
Right. Anyways, Adam, I think it had been an interesting journey so far, and I'm so looking forward to the conference semifinal that is coming up our way very soon. But anyways, once again, thank you for being a part of the show and discussing the world of NBA with us.
Thank you.
Great. So yes, obviously, as discussed, now we finally know that, the Suns are out there and they definitely have what they want. And not only that, obviously, Nuggets, who've actually managed to take over the Trailblazers. It has been an interesting journey, but if we talk about the conference semifinals, they surely will be underway, which is going to be the Nets versus the Bucks to begin with, and the second game would be the 76ers versus the Hawks. But anyways, we'll talk more about the world of sports once we get back from the break, so I'll see you guys after the break. And yes, welcome back from the break, everyone. And yes, we were discussing the world of the NBA side, but yes, obviously we give you information about the rest of the sports, so we'll quickly jump over to the news from Pakistan cricket. Yes, talking about Pakistan cricket, obviously, as discussed, Azam has actually been finally added to the entire, squad. They have actually announced a squad against West Indies and and West Indies and England. Sorry about that. But anyways, the whole idea of this is to ensure that the team is up and ready. So there are a lot of questions and answers regarding Azam, because obviously Azam is Moin Khan's son. So people generally talk about the idea that it's kind of different in terms of why is he on board. But a lot of people have actually said that he has to come on board because he has that uncapped experience, and he's been performing super well. So I think this would be an interesting, a thing for him being on board. And not only that, Imad Wasim has made his return on the T20 side as well, which is also an interesting update. And Harish Sohail has also been added to the ODI side. So I hope after the PSL that's currently happening in Dubai, and obviously I hope things in Abu Dhabi, I hope that things actually work out for them, because it's going to be really, really hot there, and our team needs to struggle. And we've already delayed, going to England by 2-3 days. But anyways, this was from the world of cricket. We'll quickly jump over to what's happening in the world of golf. Yes, and in terms of the world of golf, we have with us Salman Abbasi, who is our national golf player and has been a junior champion in 1987, joining us. Salman, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for calling me.
Great. So, sir, we would want to talk more about what's happening in terms of, the current tournament, which is the Memorial Tournament. And, starting with that, Jason Day actually decided not to join in because of his back injury. But the weather has been really, really down in terms of the weather. But Colin Morikawa has given it a good start. So how do you see this golf tournament heading, in which direction it is heading right now?
At the moment, the round one has been suspended. It's not been completed.
Right.
Morikawa is leading. He played very well in the inclined weather with the rain and the strong winds. But he has played 6 under, which is a very good round in any case, in any weather.
Right.
So if the round will be completed, I think the first thing they will decrease the rounds. Normally the championship is played over 4 days. This championship will be played, I think, over 3 days now, because the first round has not been completed.
Right.
And now it's almost the second day to arrive.
So this round was basically suspended twice, if I'm not wrong. Initially, the weather was down back in Ohio, but then they quickly changed and they started the round again. But then yet again, the rain started, and it was really, really hard for the players to manage in that current situation.
Actually, there is a rule given in golf when to suspend the game.
Right.
One is about the wind. When they are very strong and the ball starts to oscillate on the ground, then you have to suspend the play. And when there is another condition, when the water is on the ground in a level that the ball cannot travel, then you have to suspend the play.
Right.
These two conditions both were there.
So both the conditions were actually met to ensure that this round is suspended. So what about those players who have actually not gotten really a chance to play their part in this round?
This is the reason I was telling you that so far the first round has not been completed by all the players.
Right.
So on the second day, first they will complete the first round.
Right.
And the championship, which was to be played in 4 days, now it would be played in 3 days, and one round would be cancelled.
Right. It has surely been an interesting development. Obviously, Colin Morikawa establishing his very good start at under 6 would definitely give him a strong edge.
Yes, Colin Morikawa is a very strong player, given his young age, and he has a very mature mind. The way he plays his game, and he is very accurate. Right. So he has used the condition, the bad condition, and he used it to his advantage. That's why he's leading right now.
Right.
But a few of the good players like Justin Thomas and John Ram are not very far behind. So it's going to have a good match.
Right, we're definitely looking forward for that. And with regards to that, obviously, in terms of all the golfers, I think they'll probably have more time. Those who've actually missed this round would probably have more time to learn and understand, or maybe start their round one the next day.
They will finish their round. Few of the golfers who were playing on the 5th hole, few are on the 7th hole, they will first finish their first round.
Right.
The championship was to be played 4 rounds in 4 days. Now the day has not been completed, the first day. Now on the second day, they will finish the first round, then they will start the second round. That's why I was telling you that one round would be cancelled.
Right. And what about if we talk about, obviously, I would rather want to talk more about Bryson DeChambeau to begin with, because I think, in the under circumstances of the situations that he's currently under 2. So how do you see him? And I don't know if he's actually managed to complete his round.
He has finished his round. He played -2, which is also a good round given the bad conditions.
Right.
So he's also not far behind, and he'll be a force to reckon with when it comes to the end
Right.
after the fourth round.
Like, looking forward for that interesting situation, and definitely would want to talk about, Charles Schwab a bit. I just wanted to have your take on how did you see the Charles Schwab event that actually took place, and obviously Kokrak managed to get that where he wanted himself to be, but Jordan Spieth obviously managed to get there under 12.
Kokrak actually he was the leading after the third round, but Jordan Spieth during the match got very close to him and even joined him on the same score. But Kokrak kept his cool head, and on the second last hole and the last hole, Jordan Spieth made 2 mistakes consecutively because he was trying to actually win the match. That's what the players do. So Kokrak took the advantage, and on -14, 14 under par, he won the championship. Well-deserved win, actually.
Right. So how difficult was it? Because obviously for someone with his experience like Jordan Spieth, managing to make those 2 mistakes, because when we talk about him, obviously he's spot on in terms of his performance, but like you said, that Kokrak managed to have his head clear and cool about it. So where exactly did Jordan Spieth go wrong on that?
After the 15th hole, when their score was almost there was 1 stroke difference. Jordan Spieth was 13 under and Kokrak was -14. Jordan Spieth needed 3 holes were left, and Jordan Spieth needed to win. So he had to try something to make birdies, to go under par, to put pressure on the Kokrak.
Right.
But that's how it is. When you try for it, either it works or it doesn't work. Jordan Spieth tried for it, but it didn't work for him.
Right.
That's what the players do. That's if it works for him, that's how the champions are made. You try for it and it works, and sometimes it does not work. That's why Kokrak won.
Well, thank you, Soham and Salman, for giving you input in terms of the world of golf. Anyways, guys, I would quickly jump over to the world of French Open. Yes, talking about French Open, Rafael Nadal is ready to play with Cameron Norrie in round 3. That is an interesting take, and Cameron Norrie has reached, this third round twice before. But when it comes to Nadal, obviously it is tricky because he has, super experience in terms of playing on the clay. And Rafael Nadal won at the Roland Garros 6-0, 7-5, 6-2, and he lost 9 points in the first 22 minutes of the opening set. But anyways, he actually managed, Rafael Nadal actually managed to win against Richard Gasquet, which makes him obviously solid, but it's going to be a tricky journey in terms of Cameron Norrie managing to fight against, the living legend in terms of when we talk about Rafael Nadal. There have been major ups and downs in terms of the French Open, but things are finally flowing in the right direction. Anyways, I'll quickly jump over to the world of rugby. Yes, talking about Exeters. Yes, Exeters have announced the signing of the centre, Sean O'Brien. Yes, and that also, O'Brien was promoted from the academy to the Irish club Connacht in 2015. And Exeter's chief signs Irish centre from Connacht, which surely is going to be of the positive side for him. And he also made Connacht debut in round 9 of the 2021. And the chief has also signed forward Josh Losafta-Scott at the Watiku last month. So I hope the development in terms of the rugby is in the right direction. Anyways, guys, this was pretty much it from the world of sports. If you guys want to reach out to us, or you can on the social media handle, which is @ Indus News Sports. That basically works both for Twitter and for Instagram. But anyways, take good care of yourselves, and bye-bye.